Mario Party finally got an online mode. And while it's just a few minigames and no party mode, it's at least taking a step forward. Good for you, Nintendo. And if you guys are as competitive as I am, then you'll be wanting to optimize your play as much as possible, because frankly losing sucks. So I'll be showing you guys my strategies for getting top scores in each minigame in the online Mariothon. And here are my scores. They are pretty high and they will get better. So hopefully this adds at least some amount of credibility to what I'm saying. But if not, oh well, I tried. Let's get started anyways. To start off, I like picking a character whose character model is smaller so that it actually makes sense with the hurtbox that they have. Characters like Bowser and DK seem to throw me off with how big they are in comparison. First game to go over is Precision Gardening, which is a pain. Only because of laggy online bullshit. It's a rhythm game, and when it lags, it ruins that rhythm, and it ruins your time. So the only advice I have here is that the rhythm is slower than you'd think. You saw the pace I was going at through my webcam. I find that this pace will get you a perfect score in a lagless world. When it does lag, just suck it up and restart your rhythm. I know it sucks, but it's all you can do. With no lag, however, you can get this time, which is nearly a second faster than what you need for a perfect score. Snack Attack. This game has a lot to keep track of. 1. You can and should push people. If there is a popcorn falling, and there are no other popcorn that you can get to, then push them out of the way and get your damn popcorn. Keep in mind, you can't push people who have just been hit by the boulder. They are immovable. 2. Once you get in position to get your popcorn, start looking for the next place you'll go, indicated by the shadows. And then the next, and so on. You should always know your next move. 3. There are 2 different times when a shit ton of popcorn will come raining down in different spots. You need to make sure that you get at least 3 of these piles, because that will make it so much easier to get a perfect score, which I believe is around 26. And 4. Finally, knowing how close the popcorn is from the ground based on the size of the shadow. The smaller the shadow is, the longer it will take for the popcorn to land. Don't chase towards popcorn that you won't be able to get to. The main trick with Feeding Frenzy is that you always want to be throwing a ball, because sometimes you get lucky with which mouth opens, and even if you don't, you can change targets quick enough that it won't cost you many points, if any. The other trick is how you throw the balls. The way that I do it is just quick soft motions for throwing short, and quick harder motions for long. And yes, I look like an idiot jerking the air, but I get a perfect score nearly every time, so it's all good. And I know my webcam is covering my score right now, but at the end it shows I get 54, which I think is just enough for a perfect score. And I actually get a bit unlucky with a lot of my throws on this run, so this definitely works. Fuzzy Flight School is one that you should always be getting 1,000 points in, and not by doing that corner strategy that everyone seems to love to do, but by staying in the middle. The reason you stay in the middle is because you have the most options available to avoid the fuzzies. If you're in the corner, you can easily get trapped, which leads me to my next tip. You will always do better in this game if you are by yourself, because no one will get in your way. So try and block people who are trying to escape from fuzzies, and watch out for people trying to trap you. For this part, there's really no reason to go anywhere but the bottom, so just maneuver around the fuzzies at the bottom of the screen. Don't go up or left or right, top, whatever. Just stay at the bottom. You can avoid them all where I am at right now. You can do that until around this part where you'll have to change it up. What you see me doing at the start of every wave is that I head towards the middle and slightly up, because while I like staying low because it's easier to control, fuzzies will sometimes spawn at the bottom and be too hard to react to get out of the way. I'm pretty sure the fuzzies have set positions, so if you want to memorize every single position of every single room, go for it. I don't think it's necessary. You can get a perfect score nearly every time by following the strategy that I'm presenting right now, but you do you. At the very end, there will be a huge fuzzy that you'll need to go into one of the corners to avoid. Alright, I still suck at Candy Shakedown. I've done it in 8 and 9 seconds a few times, but I'm pretty inconsistent. The strategy that I feel works best though is shaking sideways instead of up and down. And as you do this, you should be focusing on the green oval and the big blue candies, because these are always the ones left at the end. The rest just seem to fall out as you go, but these two take a bit more effort. While you turn and shake the jar, focus on these candies the whole time, and the others will just fall out anyways. Cruisin for a Bruisin is primarily luck based, but you can consistently get 800 points or so with a few things in mind. First, you need to understand how the game works. It will get to a point where if you turn or do anything else that ruins your forward momentum, then you won't be able to make up that distance and you will fall behind closer to the punching ghost dudes. So you need to make sure you are going straight as much as possible. Stay in the middle of the path because obstacles only appear on left and right. You can make slight turns that won't ruin your momentum, so try to avoid sharp turns when avoiding these blocks. I will always take the top path, because the obstacles appear on the screen faster than they would on the bottom path, giving you more time to react. You should also stay away from the other players, because they will just clog up the path when the obstacles come in. If you do end up in a path with people, then just make sure you are the one in the middle so that they are the ones that get stuck and not you. I'm 99% sure that it's completely random which side the obstacles show up on, regardless of which path just had the obstacles, so just stick to your own path, because it's the most efficient way to keep your forward momentum. Unless you're changing paths to avoid the ghosts like you just saw me do. The only thing that can stop you from getting 1,000 points in Gridiron Gauntlet is the other players. So before we get into how to dodge the football goons, you should try and take at least a few lives off of your opponents, before it gets too hard. In the first 30 seconds, it isn't difficult to dodge, so you should focus your energy on trying to shove opponents into the line of fire. The less players to get in your way, the better. Other than that, the way you dodge is pretty simple. I stay near the bottom because the enemies don't spawn from the bottom, so it gives you the most time to react to the guys at top. Then you try and cut in right after an enemy passes you, because two enemies never run on the same lane at the same time, so you'll be safe. I'm going to let the rest of the game play out because I feel that you guys are smart enough to figure out what I'm doing simply by watching me. And it's pretty hard to explain spatial awareness. Just be aware of which spaces are safe, and you'll be golden. With Sizzling Stakes, you'll basically just want to get good at a few things. One is being able to control your flips. The ability to do a 90-degree flip and the ability to do a 180-degree flip. Being able to control how the cube spins is good as well. What I like to do is try and keep the cube at a very slow spin. One thing to keep in mind is that the meat will spin more in the center of the pans, so if you bring the meat towards the handle, it will stop spinning. I usually bring it towards the handle after every flip to slow down the spin. In this last clip, you'll see me bring the meat towards the handle in order to keep the spin under control. Then bring it back to the center when I need to spin it to get to a different side. Barreling along comes down to how well you follow the fastest path. Unfortunately, the only way you can truly follow this path is if you start on the outside. If you start in the middle, you just have to try and cut in front of the guys outside or just follow slightly behind. This is because there is less grass on the outside path than there is down the middle. Next, you want to take the speed boost that's through the grass, and then take a left for the double boost, which is faster than the path on the right. You want to get as straight as possible when you hit this boost, and try to hug the right side so you can hit the final boost at the end. Getting a perfect score on this is pretty hard, but if you can get it around 25 seconds, then you'll get some solid points. And finally we have Trike Harder. There isn't much to say except it's a form of a masher. There are a few techniques that you could try, but the one that I found most effective is the way you are actually supposed to do it. You just shift it right and left while rotating as fast as you can. Really emphasize all the movements so you make sure the Joy-Con picks it up. I've seen people pin it between their palms and spin one of their hands, so you can try that if you want. But other than that, just make sure you're going before the game actually starts so you can get off to a quick start. Even if you don't follow all of these strategies perfectly, you will still end up with a pretty high point total and should be able to average around 4,000 points. With any luck, you guys found this video at least somewhat helpful, and either way, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you next time.